Hi, this is Stray Passer. Welcome to my review of Marvel's, no, I'm going to say Marvel's, of Avengers Age of Ultron. Okay, I saw it this morning, 11:30. You can see that, right? There we go. Age of Ultron. Okay, and this is the second Avengers movie, of course, and this one, like you've seen in the trailer and probably all the TV spots, this one basically is about Ultron, or the rise of Ultron. And basically, what the movie starts out as, if you watch Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., it kind of continues from that point on. If you've seen that, I don't want to spoil this because I'm going to do a spoiler free. I'm trying to make this review spoiler free, and I'm going to make a review that has spoilers all over it. Okay, so I'm just going to talk generically about this one. Anyway, this one basically the Avengers have to go up against Ultron, who's, if you've seen the trailers, like I said, he's this peacekeeping program that Tony Stark basically kind of comes up with to, help the world, protect the world. But if something goes wrong, and the Avengers have to battle him to stop his plans, because his plans, like you see in the trailers, is to basically to wipe out the Avengers and wipe out humanity to preserve peace. And he enlists the twins, Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, Wanda and Pietro, in his plans, and they have a grudge against Tony Stark. So he enlists their aid to help, destroy the Avengers. Okay, and now this movie is. Let me just first say, this movie I enjoyed it and it kept my interest, but it's not as good as the first. I guess the first movie was more fun, if you can say that. More, and maybe because it was the first time all of them together in one movie, it was more fun. This movie is more serious. Not that the first one wasn't serious, but this one is more dark, I guess. That's what I want to say. This movie is more darker than the first movie. The first movie was I know it had its moments with aliens coming to the sky, but it had its lighter moments. And this movie has light moments, but this one is basically real dark because the Avengers in this they're fighting, they argue with each other because they have differences of opinion, especially with Tony Stark creating Ultron and going south. Okay, and like I said, at the same time they have to battle Ultron and Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver at the same time while trying to hunt down and find Ultron. And the Avengers, they go through they also have their own interpersonal issues as well. Okay, and like you see in the trailer, you see the Hulk or Bruce Banner and Natasha. You can see they're kind of feeling each other, and of course they give you a little background on Hawkeye as well. They give you a little insight into his family, and then, like I said, you have the butting heads of Iron Man, because Captain America is the leader of the team, but you have him butting heads, of course, with Iron Man, who they have different ideas about keeping peace. And like I said, this movie is darker. It was like I said, I found it entertaining. It kept my interest, but like I said, I don't think it's as strong as the first movie. Not that I didn't enjoy this, but I did enjoy this movie. In fact, I'm going to try to see it again. I wanted to originally see it twice today, but wound up getting up later than I wanted to. So I'm going to see it again. And maybe, like I said, I enjoyed it, but it's not as good as the first movie. And I don't think it's good as Winter Soldier. Okay, that movie really kind of just blew my mind. And this movie is, I don't think at that level. I think it's just maybe like a notch below. But I like what they did in this movie. Like they set up a lot of the stuff that's going to happen in future movies. And I did like the creation of the Vision character. I like that. That was good. And there's a lot of stuff in the movie that's good. Like I said, this movie is about 2 hours and 20-something minutes, or maybe 2 hours and 30 minutes. And I understand there's a longer cut of this movie, okay, because there's certain things in this movie that you can tell they kind of cut certain scenes in it. But like I said, I still find it entertaining, though. Like I said, it's not as fun as the first movie. This one's sort of dark, and it has darker tone. Not that, like I said, the first one still, aliens taking over the planet. This one, like I said, Ultron basically wanted to just wipe out humanity, okay, and and like I said, in my spoiler review, I'll go into more detail about Ultron. Okay. Now, as far as villains is concerned, I don't think Ultron was as good as Loki. Loki was fun. Ultron was, he was an okay villain, but he didn't knock my socks off like Loki like, I guess maybe it's Tom Hiddleston. You know, he has more personality, and not that James Spader did a bad job, but I don't think he was as menacing as Ultron was as menacing, I guess, as he could have been. I guess that's what I want to say. I like Ultron, but he wasn't as menacing as I guess he could have been. Okay, and like I said, I did like the teamwork, like especially in the opening scene where they saw that opening battle that you see in the trailer with all of them flying together at the same time. That was good, and I did like the problems that they did go into a little of the interpersonal relationships with the Avengers more, and you got more of this the squabbling and stuff between them that like I said, all the stuff that's going to probably be the setting up stuff that's going to happen later also is going to have a very big impact in later movies. But it still was okay. It wasn't, like I said, it wasn't knock your socks off like it did me like the first movie, which just blew me away. And like I said, maybe you couldn't get that anyway because it's the second go around with all of them together again. But I still find it entertaining. And as far as the twins are concerned, I did like their portrayal too. I thought Aaron Taylor Johnson did a great job as the cocky Quicksilver, and I thought Elizabeth Olsen was good too as the Scarlet Witch. I thought they were great, and I thought Paul Bettany as Vision, I thought was a nice addition as well. Okay, and like I said, this movie, like I said, I think it's a notch below the first movie. I think it's a notch below Captain America: Winter Soldier as well, which is why I'm actually looking forward to Captain America 3 because they're gonna have Iron Man in that, and I want to see how the Civil War starts. Okay, which I think is very interesting, and also like I said, I found it entertaining. And I did like. I know people. I heard some people say they didn't think Bruce Banner and Natasha had any chemistry. I thought they had good chemistry, and I liked the way they showed that relationship in the movie. I liked it. Okay, so, but like I said, this was one of my. I think this was my most anticipated movies of this year. That's what I think it was. This first, I think, and then maybe Star Wars second. Okay, did it live up to my potential? It was okay. It wasn't. I didn't get blown away like I did the first movie, but it was entertaining, and I liked it a lot. And I'm definitely going to see it again. Okay, and I'm going to give it a. And I like the way it ended too. Like I said, which I'll go into my spoiler. When I do my spoiler review, I'll talk about that more into depth into that. I'm going to give it a Avengers: Age of Ultron. I'm going to give it an 8.3. I'm going to give it 8.3. Like I said, if Ultron would have been a better villain, I think, maybe. I mean, not that, he had these plans and stuff, and it was okay, but I didn't feel the menace, I guess, that I kind of expected from Ultron, especially after I saw that first trailer where he said, "There are no strings on me." I expected more menace, I guess. That's why I expect more, I guess, more badassery, I guess, if that's a word. Okay? And hopefully maybe the next villain in the next Avengers movie will live up to Loki, because I think Loki was just a great villain. Maybe that's more to do with Tom Hiddleston and his personality and the way he acted. I just felt he was a better villain than Ultron. And I just think he is. That's just my opinion. Anyway, let me know what you think of Age of Ultron. What do you think of it? Feel free to leave comments down below. And also, let me know. And this is Trey Passer saying so long and take care.